Good morning, everybody. Here's another video about the ice shacks. I'm going to show you how I set them up in the morning when I have friends or buddies that come over and use them for the day. There's a lot that goes on. I have to wake up early because it takes about 2 hours for the hut to heat up, especially when it's minus 15 or minus 20 outside. You want to give it that time to really warm up so when your guests arrive, it's nice and cozy for them. So without further ado, let's get to it. If you like this, comment, subscribe, hit that like button, hit that bell, and let's get into it. All right, so step number one is to fill up the diesel tank. So I got my ladder and the diesel that I get right from the gas station. So the next thing I do is I bring the deep cycle battery. This runs on 12 volts, this ice shack. So we plug it up, test the lights, and make sure they have power. All right, we know they have power, so next thing to do is make sure the ice holes, so the fishing holes, are nice and clear of ice. Because even if we drill them, let's say a day ago, with the cold here, it just freezes over and it makes it tough for my friends to go fishing. They're gonna have to take a ice pick and pick at it for a while. And in the meantime, we could start the stove because it takes, like I said, about 2 hours to heat up. So we make the oil run down, light it up, and then it starts to warm up the ice shack. That was a dud. I used toilet paper to start up the diesel. So let's grab another piece of toilet paper. It's always good to make sure there's a roll of toilet paper for your friends too when they come. Oh, and before I forget, you want to make sure there's a bag in the dry toilet as well, because without a bag, you'll get pretty messy. Good to go. So once the diesel catches fire, you know that it's gonna light and there's a good flow. So I close the door and get to drilling the ice holes. So in this ice hut, we have 3 fishing holes. So all 3 people can fish at the same time and have a good time. So I also have 2 fishing rods in my ice huts, so when my friends come, they don't have to rent some. Because it's 250 feet deep, the water, these fishing lines have to be not your average kind of Teflon or plastic lines. They have to be braided, so that way when you're that deep and you pull on your fishing rod, there's no delay. It's very accurate. So I use a 4 ounce for that depth. That way the lines don't get tangled, and that way your weight goes all the way to the bottom at a good speed. So this is what they look like. If you're sleeping in the ice hut, you can have these little bells, so when there's a fish on your line, it wakes you up. We have our 2-stroke ice auger here. It's an 8-inch. It does get pretty loud and it gives off a lot of fumes. So I always keep the door open for this part. So let's start her up. Alright, so I broke one of the doors. It happens sometimes where the auger kind of nicks it. That's okay. Nothing a few screws can't fix. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty cold here, so when I talk sometimes I feel like my lips don't move properly. The ice here is roughly 18 inches thick. I think today it's about 20. So you could see when I did the holes, the auger goes almost all the way down. I do have an extension and case, but it's pretty thick. Yeah, it's cold, as you can see. So what I do before I head out, I make sure that the floor traps are closed, or else you get a big cold draft and all the cold air comes in. And then I do a double check on the stoves, make sure the fire is burning and starting to heat up the ice hut. So once everything looks good, I lock it up, and when the guests arrive, they have their own key. They have a lockbox in the back. That way with COVID, I don't have to interact with them. Here it is. So they punch in the key, and then they have access. As easy as that. So it takes me about 10 minutes to do everything, then it's ready for the guests. So it's very, very important to follow the speed limit on the ice because the police are on here very often, and it's not uncommon to see people get stopped and pulled over by the police. So make sure you drive the speed limit. It seems slow, but it's for safety, so it's important. So after a cold morning starting up the ice huts, it's time to go in the hot tub. But we have to shovel first, so let's get to it. Oh, you get used to it after a while, walking in the snow.